You won't believe this, but I'm going to show you a way to structure your chords on guitar that will make you sound better than 99% of all guitar players out there. And it's backed by science. Hey, Adam Smale here. I'm here for the intermediate player who wants to gain confidence by learning inside secrets so that you can play jazz. When you're playing in an ensemble setting, you need your chords to sound clear and strong and reduce the chances of getting in the way, especially the bass player. The first thing you do is avoid playing the root as the bass note in your chord voicing. This is how you should think of building chords for a band setting. Start with the 3rd and the 7th. Matter of fact, the safest way to play chords and not step on anybody's toes is just play the 3rds and 7ths. So why should you start with the 3rds and 7ths? I mean, you might be questioning my reasoning here, right? It's because of science. Yes, science. It's because of the Harmonic Overtone Series. There are multiple notes inside what your ear hears as one note. Each note is comprised as a thick, complex chord that your ear deciphers as just one single note. It's crazy, right? But this is super important to understand if you want to play chords that sound better than the average guitar player. It's a bit of a heady topic, but let me demonstrate as quickly as I can. If I were to pluck my A string on my guitar, our ear perceives many things going on here, but we hear mostly the fundamental frequency, which is A, 110 Hertz. But there's all these other notes or frequencies in there too. Let's check some of them out. The first harmonic is an octave above the fundamental, another A. The next is up an octave plus a 5th or a 12th, if you're keeping track, which is an E. Then the next harmonic present is 2 octaves above the fundamental, another A. Then there's a major third above that, a C sharp. Then a minor third above that, which is an octave above the 3rd harmonic, another E. Then a minor third above that, which is G. Then a major second above that, yet another A again. And it doesn't stop there. Theoretically, it goes on to infinity. And at a certain point, it goes past our human ear, and we don't have to concern ourselves any further than that for our purposes. Partly because the fundamental and the first 7 harmonics are the strongest and will define how we structure or build a good jazz chord. By the way, these harmonics above the fundamental are what gives each instrument its unique timbre or timbre. Each instrument has its own EQ of various overtones being emphasized or less emphasized. And speaking of EQ, that's why I roll off the higher frequencies on my guitar where the upper harmonics live. That way, I get closer to the fundamental note and there's less chance of fighting with each other in chords and when other people are playing. So if we take a look at our fundamental plus the next 7 harmonics, we have the root, the 5th, the 3rd, and the 7th. We now have a formula for the absolute strongest way to stack notes in a chord, especially in the ranges that a guitar and bass mostly live in. Guitar players should start with the 3rd and 7th. The most 2 common notes the bass player will likely play is the root and the 5th. Of course, they'll play more, but we'll stay out of their way and build our chords upwards from the 3rd and the 7th. Avoid playing the root and the 5th, and it creates a lot of breathing space for the guitar and bass to live. It's thinking smart. It's thinking more like an arranger. We have strings and fingers left over, so we can play a 9th or a 13th. Look at what can be done now by adding just 1 string to the mix. You may have have noticed on certain chords, I use the 6th instead of the 7th. Any good jazz musician knows that you can substitute any major 7 chord for a 6 chord, and a 6 chord for a major 7, even for a minor chord. Let's say you see a D minor major 7 written. If you try to play the 3rd and the 7th, you get a bit of an odd shape to play on the guitar. If I replace the 7th with the 6th, you get a minor 6th sound that's a lot easier to grab. If we add 2 strings, even more possibilities. What often happens is the 3rd and the 7th and the 9th and the 13th flip or invert. Check this out. It doesn't matter if they get inverted as long as the 3rd and 7th stay below the 9th and the 13th. Then you have a properly stacked chord. Now that you know how to structure bulletproof chords, the next step is to learn to really nail a good solo. I want to show you secrets that pro jazz musicians do to always sound great when improvising over chord changes. Click on the video and we'll continue this conversation, and I'll reveal it all to you. We'll use the song All the Things You Are to learn these trusted concepts. I'll see you there in 3 seconds.